Good morning and welcome to this very special edition of Across the Arts as we honor the memory and the birthday of legendary soprano Shirley Verrett. Today I'm going back in time to Across the Arts to one of my very first interviews with New York-based Courtney Carey, who organized a glorious tribute in her memory. Let's take a listen to that special tribute now.
Good morning. I am Patrick D. McCoy, the African-American voice in classical music, and I hope that you all had a wonderful, wonderful, and prosperous New Year celebration. Today, this is a very special show that we are going to have today, and I'm so honored to have one of New York's finest baritone soloists and musicians living in that city, Courtney Carey, to tell us about a special tribute honoring the late legendary soprano, Shirley Verrett. Welcome, Courtney. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so very much for having me on your show today.
Oh, you're quite welcome. So, Courtney, tell me about Shirley Verrett. I do know that we were all moved and touched with her passing in last November. And just tell me about her rich contributions to the arena of opera.
Yes. Shirley Verrett comes from that generation of pioneering singers who had a tremendous and special talent. And that generation includes singers like Leontyne and Martina Arroyo and Grace Bunbury and Barbara Conrad. You know, the list goes on and on and on. And Miss Verrett's talent was so special and so electrifying and so inspirational that it really was difficult to deny her a place on the world's greatest stages, both concert and opera. I guess we could sort of go down the list, the laundry list of performances that sort of ring out for people. But one of the, I think perhaps at least for me, one of the most significant touchstones of her career was that 1975 Macbeth at La Scala di Milano, which really sort of set her apart from the rest of the pack and opened up the floodgates, as it was, for her career, not only as a leading artist, but one who holds a very special and unique place in the performance of opera at large. Miss Verrett's debut was in 1968 in a fabulous production of Carmen, which at that point was only 1 year old. And, of course, there's the 1973 Les Troyens at the Met when she sang both Cassandra and Didon. And the list really does go on and on and on of her career highlights. Her accompanist, Warren Wilson, was relaying a story to me about a special performance they gave in Vienna in 1977. And he said for him it was the highlight of all of the time that they spent together. The audience's response to her talent and the sheer amount of energy that she put out in that performance was so overwhelming that they walked off the stage, both of them almost in tears, because of the audience response. So that's the kind of person we're talking about, with gifts that were so precious that it was so affecting to the audience that they couldn't even wait till the performance was over before they started to cheer and applaud. So this concert, I think, is a wonderful opportunity to reflect and to remember this special lady.
Oh, that is so wonderful. Move me towards this concert, this special memorial concert. Who inspired the concept, and how did the origins of this particular memorial concert come about?
Okay. That's a funny sort of story. I was in my apartment And I was, doing as I normally do every day, playing some music. And this was 2 days after she passed away. This was November the 7th, 2010. And I was playing, I think it was Norma. And I said, we have to do something. And when I turned around in my apartment, I literally turned a full circle to head towards the bathroom. The idea came to me that we needed to do this. We needed to do this on January the 8th, and we needed to do it in Harlem. And I should say a little bit about the title of the actual program. It's Harlem Honors Shirley Verrett. But it's sort of a misnomer or a little bit nebulous. And I don't want it to seem as if it's an exclusive party. It really is an all-inclusive party. The reason we came up with that name is because she spent many of her days while a student at Juilliard in Harlem at the Ephesus Seventh-Day Adventist Church, which is where the concert will be held. And also, a lot of people don't realize this, but she studied privately with the late great composer Hall Johnson. And she studied Brahms' lieder and art songs as well as spirituals with him in his Harlem studio. And so we felt that this was the perfect place to hold this memorial concert. So while it says Harlem Honors, it's sort of a reflection of the time that she spent in the neighborhood and those years at Juilliard, and then subsequent from, I guess I would say, 1965 to about 68 when she made her debut. She was still in that general area, singing and working.
I think it's such an honor that so many people are coming together to honor this great singer. Do you know? I think I heard briefly that there was another memorial tribute at the University of Michigan. Do you have any information on that tribute and how did that go over, and maybe some of the artists who participated or the organizers of that particular memorial?
Yes, a friend of mine, Kevin Miller, who has been a tremendous help and co-chair of the Harlem Honors Shirley Verrett Memorial Concert, was telling me a little bit about the program they put together at the University of Michigan. And it actually really was a memorial service for the family and friends and colleagues at the school. And they are working on something, I think, a little bit larger for a little bit later on in the year. When we have these kinds of losses, it's oftentimes a little bit difficult to get one's brain focused on all of the many things that you can do, all of the possibilities that are available to you. So I'm sure that they're going to put together something, larger scale in the future.
So I would be bold to say then, Courtney, that this event is probably then the preeminent musical tribute to the legacy of Shirley Verrett. I would be bold to say that.
And I would be bold enough to agree with you. Yes, and I would be bold enough to agree.
That's a quite high honor.
Yes,
oh, wow. Yes. That is such an honor. Now, tell me, I understand that George Shirley, the noted Metropolitan opera tenor, and Miss Verrett were close friends and colleagues at the University of Michigan. Is that correct?
Yes. It was actually at Mr. Shirley's invitation that Miss Verrett ended up going to the University of Michigan. And, their relationship extends back, I would say from the 1950s when they both competed in the, I think it was then called the Metropolitan Auditions of the Air or something like that. Basically, now we know it as the National Council Auditions. They competed together. I think he sang Nessun Dorma, and I think she wanted to sing O Mio Fernando, but ended up singing, I think it was the Habanera from Carmen. You can't quote me on that, but I think it was the Habanera from Carmen that she sang in that competition. And he won those auditions, and they had a long, long, long friendship. And he invited her to the University of Michigan, where she served as professor from, I think it was 1996 until just a few years ago when she retired.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
Courtney, I have a method to my madness. Would you mind being so gracious and tell the listeners, how old are you?
I'm 30 years old. I will be 31 February 22nd of this year.
That is absolutely wonderful. It's so wonderful when you talk to a person with such youthfulness and zeal that knows so much about this art that sometimes, get the short end of the stick. And I think it's something that needs to be preserved and cultured and cultivated so that a younger generation can continue to appreciate such singers as the one that we speak of. So I just want to, again, just thank you for that. That youthfulness is such a breath of fresh air to me. I wanted to go on to ask you, tell me about the different artists, the different eminent artists, the artists who will be featured on this special memorial concert to the late Shirley Verrett.
Yes. So the first person I called when I conceived this program was Barbara Conrad. Barbara Conrad is a legend. And she's a legendary mezzo-soprano who herself is enjoying several tributes, including a documentary that AT&T has put together called When I Rise. And they both studied with Hall Johnson. And I felt that was the most significant connection that we could make to sort of string all of this together as Harlem presents this program. And as soon as I called her, she said, "Count me in. No problem at all." And she sang for 8 seasons at the Metropolitan Opera and all over the world, and was a very, very prominent recitalist, and actually recorded her first CD at the Convent Avenue Baptist Church in Harlem. There again, another Harlem. Yes, there again, another Harlem connection. In addition to Miss Conrad, Warren Wilson, her longtime pianist, has graciously agreed to come and offer some reflections on Miss Verrett, and theirs was a very special relationship. And Kevin and I had an opportunity to go to his home and sit and speak with him and interview him as we prepared all of this. And I tell you, I'm not one who gets teary-eyed very often, but there were a few moments when he was talking that I really, really welled up with some very, very strong emotions, because you could feel how very special their relationship was. And so he's going to come and offer a tribute as well. And we're very, very honored that Dr. Christopher Brooks, the co-author of her autobiography, I Never Walked Alone, has given us many, many, many pictures for a video montage that we are putting together. And he is also going to come and speak, and we're very honored to have him. And he has been a tremendous help as we've organized all of this. I mean, anytime I call him to ask any questions, he's always been very, very willing to answer whatever questions we've had, and sent us, again, all of those wonderful photos that are in the book, as well as some that have never been released for the general public's viewing. So we're very honored to have him. And we'll also have some written tributes and some singing, of course. And I can't give it all away because we do want the audience to come and be surprised by some of it. But it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful evening.
Oh, my goodness. That is absolutely wonderful. And when you mentioned the recording at Convent Avenue Baptist Church, I remember when I saw that recording and I bought it because it's actually on the Naxos label, in which they present wonderful, classical music CDs. But the music director there, Gregory Hopkins, is really a staple in the black classical music scene, especially in that New York scene, and that's what really drew me to buying the disc. So it's wonderful that you mentioned that recording. At this moment, I want to take a moment to bring on the air with us on the broadcast classical pianist Richard Alston. Mr. Alston actually had some experiences working with Shirley Verrett. And Richard, welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining Courtney and I as we reflect on Shirley Verrett. Share with us some of your experiences that you had working with her, or what was your first encounter like when you met Shirley Verrett?
Well, I have a Harlem collection also. I was an piano instructor at the Harlem School of the Arts for several years. And Betty Allen, bless her, invited me to perform on one of their radiothons. And I had heard that Miss Verrett was going to be there, and I was a major fan of hers. I saw her perform Samson and Delilah at the Metropolitan. And I had a rare recording that she made. I knew it was rare because when you looked at it, it wasn't on a major label, and it was called How Great Thou Art. It consists of all hymns and spirituals. When I ran into her in the elevator, I took the album out, and she was so surprised because she said that was an album she made especially for her father. and she autographed it to me. So that was the first time we met. The second time, there was a tribute to the late, great baritone William Warfield. And I was performing on the program, and she was one of the guests who was going to speak and honor him. And there's a wonderful picture that we took together at that concert. And then the third was the most special. An organization called The Links here in New Jersey, when her book came out, invited her to do a book signing and a master class. And I went to Westminster Choir College and listened to several singers. And what was so great about this was that before the master class, the day before, we had dinner, myself and several members of the Links. And she was so gracious and telling stories. But the thing I will always remember is that she stopped at a moment, because I had so many questions to ask her. And she said, Richard, let's just hold on for a minute. And she turned to the ladies in the Links, and she said, tell me about you. And she asked each woman to tell about themselves. And I thought that was so gracious. In fact, you could talk about tears welling up. That was just, to me, the epitome of humanity and love for everyone. And so I don't know if you told this story yet, but when I saw about this concert happening in your email, I immediately emailed you and said, if possible, could I participate? And thank you, Corey, for inviting me. And I look forward to this very, very special occasion.
Well, thank you so much, Richard. And what will you be playing on the concert?
I selected Rigoletto Paraphrase. This is a concert transcription of the quartet from Rigoletto by Verdi. And the reason I picked it was because she recorded the role of the gypsy. I can't think of the character's name. She recorded this opera on Angel with Pavarotti and June Anderson. And I just recently downloaded the quartet to add some inspiration. So I was playing it in my car this morning with her singing.
Oh, my goodness. Well, thank you so much for joining us and giving us the reflection on Shirley Verrett. And I know that the listeners at the concert, all of the attendees are going to be truly blessed by your piano playing. I understand that you have another concert coming up soon as well. Is that correct, Richard?
Yes, I'm performing a concert called Classically Black at Rutgers University in Camden on February 2nd. And also I'll be performing Rhapsody in Blue with the Orchestra Ensemble du Monde on February 12th, Saturday, February 12th. And so I'm busy practicing for those concerts, too.
So listeners, this is another wonderful...
The Classically Black concert is composers of all African descent, from Chevalier de St. George to George Walker, Nathaniel Dent, Margaret Bonds, Florence Price. And I'll be telling the audience a little bit about each composition before I play it. I'm sorry, you were about to say?
That's one. I was just going to say the listeners have another wonderful, magnificent African-American classical musician to look forward to hearing and supporting these wonderful performances. Do you have a website address that you could give us?
Yes, I would love it if people would go there. It's www.richardcalston, all one word, .com. So that's RICHARDCALSTON.com.
Okay, thank you so much, Richard. Have a great day.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much. That was Richard Alston sharing with us, who will also be featured on the special tribute for Shirley Verrett, which is going to be on Saturday, January the 8th at 7 o'clock p.m. at the Ephesus Seventh-Day Adventist Church in Harlem. Courtney, was there anything else that you wanted to say about the concert that the audience, that the concert attendees might need to know before coming?
Yes, actually, the one thing that we had to do in order to do this concert, and it was sort of very important for me, was to make sure that, first of all, that admission was free. But as the admission is free, we are asking for those who are able to make some kind of contribution during our free will offering. And that contribution will be sent to the University of Michigan to the attention of Dean Daniel Washington, who is the head of academic recruitment at the University of Michigan. And those funds will go towards the establishment of a scholarship named in Miss Verrett's honor. And I think that it is very, very important that, while we are remembering and reflecting on Miss Verrett, we don't lose sight of one very important thing that she discussed, and I don't know that many people have heard this, a singers round table with Grace Bumbry, Martina Arroyo, Rary Grist, and Miss Verrett. And I can't remember if it was a performance of Hansel and Gretel or if it was Carmen. I can't remember right now. But at that round table, she discussed how important it was for us to continue to encourage young singers who aspire to do opera or any classical medium. And I think that with these funds and giving them to the University of Michigan to start a scholarship in her honor is perhaps, aside, in addition to, honoring Miss Verrett, is perhaps one of the most important things about this entire evening, so that we can inspire some young person with, funds and with the memory of this great artist, and to continue to persevere and really, really make a go of this classical music, opera, recital, and concert medium.
Wonderful. I want to say thank you so much, Courtney Carey, for sharing with us about this very special tribute concert in memory of the late legendary soprano Shirley Verrett. And we certainly thank concert pianist Richard Austin for also joining us, who will be featured on that concert. I want to do recap for the listeners. This concert is themed and called Harlem Honors Shirley Verrett. It will take place on Saturday, January 8th at 7 o'clock p.m. at the Ephesus Seventh-Day Adventist Church in Harlem, New York. And the concert is free, but we are asking, and I am saying we, because even though I won't be there, I feel like I'm there in spirit. We are asking that you do give up your donations if you can, that would help to support further endeavors of young students in the area of opera and classical music. Thank you both so much for joining me today.
Thank you very much. You're very welcome.
Okay. Again, listeners, that was Courtney Carey and also concert pianist Richard Austin talking about a special tribute to the late legendary soprano Shirley Verrett, which would take place in Harlem, New York on January the 8th at the Ephesus Seventh-Day Adventist Church at 7 o'clock p.m. That program is free, and we do ask that you come and support the legacy of this magnificent artist. Shirley Verrett was an extremely wonderful soprano, and we will miss her rich legacy, but actually that will still live on through her many recordings and through video presentations. Again, I am Patrick D. McCoy, the African-American voice in classical music, and stay tuned for our next edition, which will be a special, and I mean special, celebrity interview with a very special artist. So keep posted. Follow me on Twitter at Patrick D. McCoy, or you may look me up on Facebook, Patrick D. McCoy on Facebook as well. Again, this is Patrick D. McCoy, the African-American voice in classical music, and I wish you a great day.
Love.